Welcome to Clutter to Clarity, the podcast where we transform chaos into calm. I'm your host, Heather Ann, and I'm here to guide you to a more intentional and clutter-free life. Whether you need help decluttering your physical space or seeking clarity in your mindset, each episode is packed with expert tips, personal insights, and inspiring stories. So grab your favorite beverage, get cozy, and let's dive into another episode of Clutter to Clarity. Welcome to episode number 1 of Clutter to Clarity. My name is Heather Ann and I am your host. Today I will be sharing with you 7 quick tips to kickstart your decluttering. So decluttering is a lifelong journey. Unfortunately, it's not one of those things that you're just going to all of a sudden get to a day and be like, and I'm done, because we're still living our lives. We're still going out in the world. People are still giving us stuff. And if we live with our families, people are still bringing stuff in the house, right? But what I want to talk about today is not that lifelong journey. I just want to talk about some ways to get started quickly, easily. Just to give you a little bit about myself, I am not about the overwhelm. I really do not think you should get out all of your books or all of your clothes or all of your anythings and do this major, massive decluttering purge all at one time. A, overwhelming. B, your clutter was not built in a day. You're not going to clear it out in a day. And who wants to spend their weekends that way? And if you do it all in a big hurry, you've done nothing to shift your mindset. And if you have not shifted your mindset, and you're going to hear that term and other terms about that personal development quite a lot in this podcast. If you haven't shifted your mindset, it's going to be really easy to fall back into those same clutter habits. But we'll get through all of that as we get into more episodes. Today, just want to talk about ways to kickstart that decluttering, get it moving. So up first, tip number 1, start with the easy stuff. Trash, broken items, decor you are not fond of, things that are easily replaceable. If you just go to the gym for the first time in years and years and years, you're not going to be able to bench press your full potential, right? You might be able to bench press the bar. You need to build your decluttering muscle up just like you build your physical muscle up. So you start with the easy stuff. The other thing that happens if you try to start with things that are more complicated is indecision about something will just completely stall your progress. So as you're decluttering, focus on the easy stuff first. And if you get to something and you're not sure, that's okay. Set it aside to be dealt with later when you have built more of your decluttering muscle. All right, tip number 2. And this one's kind of a silly one, but I have found it to be really effective for me. Tip number 2, remove half your decor items. Yes, literally half your decor items. Go to a shelf that just feels like it's too cluttered or it's difficult to dust. Count the number of items on the shelf and pack up half of them. You don't have to get rid of them. You're just going to pack them up out of sight for a little bit and see how you feel. You may decide, well, that item that I did leave, I don't really love that one, but the one that's in the box waiting, I like that one better. You might trade it out, but literally go through and count, pack up half of it and see how it feels living with that minimized look for a bit. All right, number 3, hide cords. Cords are a necessary evil in our modern day with all of the technology that we use, but they just instantaneously make a space look untidy and cluttered. There are lots of things that you can go to purchase. There's conduit that you can buy that's a special to conceal cords, but even grab some zip ties and some twist ties to tie up some of those overly long cords. Move a houseplant to where it's in the front of a big pile of ugly cords. Do what you can to hide the cords, because that immediately will make someplace look less cluttered and more tidy if you just get all of those unsightly cords out of your visual spectrum. Number 4, I need to define something. I'm going to say the tip, and then I'm going to define something, and then we'll go into a little more detail. So tip number 4 is to make a temporary doom box. And now, what is a doom box? It first came up, I believe, in the ADHD community, and it was when you get overwhelmed and you just throw all of this stuff that has no rhyme or reason all in a box together because you have people coming over or for whatever reason, you've got to tidy your space and you just like dump everything into a box. And then that box becomes out of sight, out of mind. And who knows how long it's going to be before you actually get back to that box and clear it out. So in that definition, a doom box sounds like it's a bad thing, but a doom box is not really a bad thing. It can help if you think of it as a temporary measure to tackle a space. So if you've ever been to the restaurant that has little games on the tables, there's the one little game that you slide the little pieces around to make the puzzle, to complete the picture puzzle. Every one of those games has to have an empty space to work, right? Decluttering is a little bit like that puzzle. You've got to have an empty space to work. So taking a doom box, finding a space where it's super decluttered and you just need to be able to tackle it, but there's so much stuff there, there's no space to rearrange with. Take that doom box, fill the box with everything from that space that is causing you anxiety, and then set a timer for 15 minutes. Work on emptying that doom box one at a time or one class of items at a time, putting back what is going to stay in that area, putting away what doesn't belong in that area and already has a home. And then if you have time, finding homes for the things that don't belong in that area and don't yet have a home. If you don't have time right then, leave it for later, but then make a plan to go back to that doom box. All right, tip number 5, get help with decluttering. This could be asking your spouse, your kids, your friends, hiring a coach. I'm a coach. Hi, if you needed help there, or joining online communities with other people on the same path. For example, my own decluttering community, a free community on Facebook where we support one another on our decluttering journey. There will be a link in the show notes if you'd like to come join us there. Tip number 6, tackle the big stuff. And when I mean big stuff, I mean like furniture, not like theoretically big, actually physically big. Sometimes we're so focused on the little things in the space that we forget to notice that we have too many big things in the space overwhelming it. So take a critical look at your furniture and other things that take up a lot of floor space and consider removing even 1 or 2 things to free up more space. And tip number 7, take photographs of the cluttered space. I use this tip all of the time. It's amazing how you become clutter blind to things that are in your life every day. But as soon as you take a picture, you're like, oh, wow, that like, I didn't even notice that there. But as soon as you take that picture, man, it's like all of a sudden you're looking at Pinterest and you're like, oh, well, that's out of place or that's out of place. So if you've got a space and you're like, I'm just not even sure how to tackle this, take a picture, put it on your computer, use a markup tool, go through and mark up things and go, oh, I think I can take that out. I can take that out. Write down some notes, go declutter the things that need to go, then take more pictures. Keep repeating that process until the space looks right to you. And if you need a little help with that, ask your friends or your coach, or if you're in something like the decluttering community, post a photo there, get ideas from other people. All right, so that's what I've got for you for this episode. Kind of big thing, focus on one thing you can do right now. Don't worry about trying to do all of these 7 tips at once. Pick one and commit yourself to doing it this week. Progress is progress, regardless of the size. As we wrap up another episode of Clutter to Clarity, I want to thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. If you're looking for more support, tips, and a community of like-minded individuals, consider joining my free Facebook group, Decluttering Community. It's a space where we share insights, celebrate victories, and support each other on our decluttering journeys. Thank you for being part of the Clutter to Clarity community, and until next time, remember, small, consistent actions add up to big changes. Declutter your life today.